Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel if you've been here before. If you haven't been here before, then please enjoy the show. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So today we're going to talk about the now older set of Bloomburrow and the starter kit that they have out for new players that are trying to get into the game. So the way that this actually works, if you were a new player trying to get into the game, is these are both 60 card decks that you can sit down with somebody else and get ready to duke it out with them. But they actually have a very fun step-by-step process to them at first. As you can see, they are two colors, and in the world of Bloomburrow, they use a lot of cute, cuddly little creatures for the basis of the beings on the planet, I guess you could say, of this world. So there's rabbits, there's otters, there's bunnies, there's all sorts of critters on this world. And, excuse me, what you get in this deck is the following. It contains two 60-card decks, one being Hair Raising, which is a white-green deck, and the other one being Otterlimus, which is a blue-red deck. Two traditional foil mythic rare cards, one per pack, and those are probably going to be the two face cards you see here. Those are probably going to be those. I don't see why they wouldn't be. 8 non-foil rare cards, 4 for each deck. So you'll get 4 rare cards per each deck. So you get quite a bit of little collection going from this. You get 4 double-sided tokens, 2 per deck, 2 MTG Arena Code cards available in select regions. So I guess some places they just can't get that. So the Arena Codes, I'm guessing, because I haven't bought this kit, I haven't done this yet because I'm not a starter, obviously. So this doesn't really interest me as far as a product that I'm willing to buy, unless I was to sit down with somebody completely brand new into the game and show them how to play with something that is already pre-made, not something of my own design. So short of doing that, I have not bought this product yet. But the arena codes are for when you want to really get into Magic. You can also download MTG Arena, and when you do that, you can create a free account and you can go on there and you can grind away. You don't have to pay any money. You could just do it the boring way, I guess you could say, and just grind away. You could spend money on unlock things faster and really hit the ground running if that's a preferred method of yours, but you don't really have to. You can do it freely. The arena codes are going to allow you to get either one or both of these decks. I'm not sure how that actually works out because, like I said, I've not bought this product. So you get those in there as well. You get 2 deck boxes, 1 for each, and a starter kit playing guide. Now, what makes that interesting for people that have never bought anything like this is when you sit down and play with somebody who's never played, they actually have like a step-by-step procedure that you follow. So, like when you sit down with these decks, you don't actually shuffle them. You just open them up and follow the directions on the pamphlet, the little rule book that it comes with, because it will literally walk you through step by step of everything that you're going to play, what you're going to do for the next probably 3, 4, maybe 5 turns. Then after that, it should be fairly randomized and you can make the plays based off of that. I really like this idea. I'm glad they brought it back. This was a way I got into really playing the game with some family back in the day. Back in 7th edition, I believe it was the first time that we sat down and got really into the game. And my dear uncle is actually the one who bought us our first starter kit, my brother and I, and we sat down and we followed the instructions and had a blast doing it. And after that, we were just really, really into getting more into this game. As you can see, you have For the white-green deck, here's your Mythic. Here's one of your rares, and a very good Angel. You get an Elemental Turtle, Colossification, which is just hilarious when you think about it. You you pay 7 mana, which is a lot of mana, but you're going to tap your creature when this comes into play onto your creature. But man, it makes something a +20/+20. That is just dumb. That means your Angel could be a 22/24 with flying. It makes it very, very hard to stop that. Your last rare for that deck is going to be this Phineas, Ace Archer, a really cool 2/2 rabbit archer. He has Vigilance, Reach, and a few other abilities you can read up on your own. As you scroll through on their official Wizards of the Coast Magic the Gathering website here, we get a whole look through of everything that's in the deck, so you can kind of highlight through and see everything that's in the deck. I will note this is not the artwork you're going to get in this pre-constructed deck. This is a special artwork that you can get lucky and pull out of buying what they call a collector booster. So, if you're new to the game, they have a couple of different ways to buy cards. You can buy them from pre-constructed decks like this. Of course, you can buy them from game stores, online, that kind of thing, if you just need a couple of certain cards or you just want a couple of certain cards. They do have a pack called a collector's booster. What the collector booster is it's a set of 15 special cards, I guess is a good way to say. You get some that are a extended art or a borderless art, like this kind of is. You get more foils in that, so if you're looking to kind of make something all nice and shiny and foily, that's probably the easiest way to go, especially to get like commons and uncommons. To get something like this is going to be very hard and very rare to get, especially in a foil version. In fact, if you actually look this up, I'm pretty sure it's not going to be a cheap card to grab. But I just wanted to point out that this is not the artwork you're going to get in the pre-constructed deck. It will be this artwork here. This is from the actual set of Bloomburrow. So you not to get hopes up, as cool as this artwork may be, with the anime style treatment, which I'm a big fan of. No, you're not getting that. But as we continue to go through the deck, you can see some of the other cards that are in here. This is kind of a low to the ground rabbit tribal kind of deck we have here. Everything kind of synergizes very well. We have a couple ways to stop some things, gain some life, make some tokens. Kind of punch through here with something like Colossification, which really odd to see in this deck, but that's just me. We're running pretty simple land base here, 27 lands. Not bad if you're a new player. That should give you enough land to keep the game going. Moving on to the blue-red deck. Blue-red decks are typically more of what we call a spellslinger style, versus the other one, which is going to be more of what we call a token strategy. Go wide and then just overrun you with just sheer numbers. This style of the deck is going to be focusing on casting a bunch of instants and sorcery spells to make their stuff big. That's what Brea actually does. She has prowess, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, it gets a +1/+1. And it also gives other creatures you control prowess. So it's going to make everything on your board big. Versus, as we come back up here, Burke, Long Ear of the Law, he has Vigilance, meaning as a mechanic of the game, Vigilance says you don't have to turn the card sideways to attack, you just declare it as an attacker. As one of the state-based rules of Magic is you would turn a creature sideways and attack with it. Well, Burke here has Vigilance, so he doesn't have to turn sideways. He just say, okay, I'm attacking with Berkey here. But whenever he enters the battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on each of up to 2 target creatures. So you could target 2 separate creatures and put a 1/1 counter on each of them, or you can target just one of them. For instance, if you only had this angel, you can target the angel and put a +1/+1 counter on it. If I'm not mistaken, you can actually put one on itself. So you can make him a 5/5 and her a 3/5. So pretty neat little ability. A lot of mana to get him out, but not bad at 4 blue, at 4 green white. Whenever a creature you control with a +1/+1 counter on it attacks, double the number of +1/+1 counters on it. So we're looking to go wide and then use him to help pump the army a little bit, because we're trying to get everything to get bigger with these +1/+1 counters on them. So then whenever they attack, they grow bigger. So that's the game plan behind this versus the red-blue deck down here, where Brea is just trying to make everything big in one shot. She also has a really nasty ability at the very end. So whenever you cast a non-creature spell, target creature you control cannot be blocked this turn. So it may not be the biggest thing on the battlefield, but you can't stop it either. And when you play something like this, a 60 card format like this, you're only going to have 20 life. So it doesn't take very much for you to punch through. You get the Mockingbird, which is a pretty neat card to have in your collection in general. You have another Otter Wizard who synergizes very well with the deck. You get Mind Spring, which is a wonderful card draw capability. You can draw any number of cards as long as you keep putting mana into the X symbol here. So I'll touch on that real quick. For this card, you would need to cast a blue, and any number of colors you want here. But whatever you put here for X is the number of cards you're going to draw. So if you put blue, blue, and 1, you're going to draw 1 card. But you put blue, blue, and like 5, well, now we're drawing 5 cards. Much, much better at that rate. A lot of mana to do. Sword of Vengeance is an artifact that you can equip to any of your creatures. It'll give it a +2/+0. So a little bit of a power boost. They will also gain First Strike, Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. So touching on all this, one of my previous videos, which I can put down in the description below, First Strike enables you to deal your combat damage first. So it can be kind of a tricksy combat way to get around certain things. Vigilance, as we just went over with Burke, it allows you to attack without tapping your creatures, so you still have it to block with. Trample is very simple. We're going to trample over with damage. So if we gave the sword to, well, we'll use Alania here, she would now become a 5/5 with sword. That means as a 5/5 creature, if you were to block it with like this 1/1 creature right here, this Mockingbird, and she had the sword giving her trample, she kills this, and then 4 more points of damage go over to your opponent's face. That's essentially the easiest way to look at trample. You're looking at the first number here, which is our attack power. It will be a 5 because the sword will give us a +2. And as we turn sideways, you will declare this as a blocker. Well, this has got a 1 defense on the other side of the hash mark here. So you have the attack power first and the defense second. So then we just subtract this 5, the 1 from this 5 power. That gives you 4. And thanks to trample, it goes over and punches in the face. Finally, the last ability is Haste. Haste is very important. Haste enables you to attack right away with creatures that are summoned, because otherwise they have what we call summoning sickness, meaning they cannot attack or use a tap ability as soon as they come into play. They are sick. So giving it haste means you can make one creature very, very big, and all of a sudden your opponent goes, uh-oh, I can't stop that. We're coming in for damage now. This could end badly. And that's kind of your hope. So as we scroll on through, we see the rest of the deck. You can see some of the other cards that are in here. This is again a special foil anime treatment that you can get by pulling from the collector's pack. If you buy their normal booster packs, you're not gonna pull this. This is gonna be exclusive to your collector packs. So if you want this art, you either can buy it secondary from uh, game stores, maybe another person or friend, whatever, trade for it, however you think you can get it, or just start ripping over booster packs that are collector packs, and maybe you'll get lucky. But we are very otter themed. There's a frog. So we're an otter and a frog deck. There's an elemental boar. That's interesting because he has reach, trample, and haste. So that's interesting. We have a couple of sorceries here. There's our sword, a couple of enchantments to stop some things, and a couple of ways to blow some stuff up. Our mana base is kind of the same at 27 cards. So that's kind of the gist of what this starter kit actually has involved into it. The player's guide is very interesting though, because it allows you to sit down and you're not going to shuffle the first I don't know 5 or 6 turns. I forget what it actually is, and it literally will walk you through like, okay, you're the red blue deck, so you're going to go first. It won't matter who rolls what die. It literally will tell you who's going to go first. So it will tell you like you're going to draw your land, you're going to play your island, for instance, and you're going to pass the turn. Like it literally walks you through how to play for like the first handful of turns. Then after that, it kind of goes, all right, I've kind of showed you a little bit how to do it, so here you go. Go for it. I love it. I think it's a great idea. I'm glad they brought this back after quite a few years of not really having something like this. So if you're new in trying to get into the game and you don't really feel like downloading MTG Arena, you don't have a computer or very good internet, whichever your case may be, this is a very good option for you if you're just trying to get into and learn the game, because these are very cheap. It's like $20 at most stores like Walmart or Target or anything like that. So they're very easy to buy, very easy to get into. Might have a little bit of a hard time finding something like that right now, being that we're in 2025. This came out towards the end of last year. But if you find a local game store, odds are they'll have this or at least one of the other starter kits, because there's quite a few starter kits out there. So it's very fun. It's a great way to start into the game, learn the game, and you've got a whole lot you could do from here. So I like them. I'm more of a commander player than anything. So for me, 60 card decks like this don't really do a whole lot for me per se. But like I said, for a new starting player, they're a great buy. Can't beat anything with it. So let's say that you are trying to get into Commander. So you're wanting to figure out what you could do to get into Commander. Well, using their website here, we can actually do that. So we can scroll down. Here's some of the cards you could get from your collector's packs. And as you can see, we have 4 Commander decks from the new set, Duskmourn. And they are really good decks. I like them. And they can pack quite a punch, and they're really good out of the box. So they're a good buy. They're uh, kind of expensive at about the $50 mark, but if you're trying to get into Commander, it's a very good way to start. So and they're all fairly well rounded. They can all actually hold their own in a lot of different ways. So they're a good way to get into if you're trying to get in. Plus, if you like kind of a horror theme, scary movie kind of theme, these are just great. They'll hit every little itch and bug that you could have for that. This is a example of the collector boosters I was talking about earlier with the Bloomburrow set, and this is what you're normally going to go for and buy at your game store, Walmart, Target, wherever. These are going to be your typical $5 a booster pack. This will run you about $20 to $30 depending on the set. Some of the sets are a little bit higher because they sold out very quickly. So just keep that in mind. If you're trying to quote take that gamble, this will cost you about $30 for one booster pack if you're really trying to get something going. So for me, being a commander player, these are a great way to start. Um, and you look at all this beautiful artwork they have in the set; it's just amazing. You could pull any or all of this and a lot of the collector boosters. You can pull some art like this split up over here and just a regular play booster, but you're not going to pull anything really big, fancy, and shiny, all that good stuff without being a collector booster. If you're good with that, then the next thing that we need to go for is doing like MTG Arena, for instance. So uh, we could do something like show you kind of an idea of what you can see here. Maybe one day I'll hop on here and record a video of me playing Arena, so you can get an experience behind that. This is a good way to learn Magic as well. The only reason I don't like the Arena format so much is because of a lot of the times the computer does a lot of this on its own. So like playing spells and stuff, it will automatically tap out land so you can play your spells. And I think that makes it a little bit too automatic for me. I kind of prefer like an in-person teaching people, but just to get some practice, it's not bad. So it is a nice way to kind of get things going. Um, that's kind of the gist of that. It's a good way to keep your skills up and learn more about how cards interact with each other. So I wanted to make this video to kind of get on there and kind of explain a few other things about Magic and what it is, what it does, how things work. So we can do so when we do like our banned and restricted list, for instance. This is all, by the way, on the Magic the Gathering Wizards of the Coast website. There's a lot of very useful information here, but not a lot of people actually understand how to access that. So this is our banned and restricted section, for instance. So this will show you some of the standard cards that are banned currently. Currently, the Leyline of Resonance is the only card banned in a best of one scenario. So we go down to Modern, which is a pretty good format, and we see the list of banned cards here. It's quite extensive because that's quite a big pool. Vintage is cards that are really old and allows you to play some really crazy things. Those decks are ridiculous. I mean, for gods, there's Ancestral Recall, the Black Lotus, which if you don't know anything about Magic, I will tell you, the Black Lotus is the most rare and expensive card in the game, except for the current thing, which is the serialized foil 1 of 1 one ring from the Lord of the Rings set, which is owned by Post Malone. He bought it for a little over $2 million. Aside from that, Black Lotus is just like the Holy Grail. This this uses some really powerful old cards in that format. Legacy's kind of the same thing. It does really dumb things. These decks are ridiculously expensive, and they all do just broken things. Here's our banned list for Commander. A lot of the cards on here are going to be similar for some of the others. There's a lot of things on here that are banned for good reason. Some of them are more recent, like Pornadu or Rest Easy, Metacrypt, Rest Easy, and Jewel Close. Things like that are just a freshly banned on here, which makes me sad because they were great cards. And then if you really want to go hardcore budget, there's something called Popper, which means everything has to be a common level printing. It could be a rare version of the card, that is fine, but the card had to have at least a version of it printed at common at some point in its life, and you could use it. But here is a list of cards that are banned in Popper, which is a great little format. And before you ask, yes, there is such thing as Popper Commander, and there's actually a YouTube channel dedicated to that. You should go check it out if that's something that interests you. Maybe I'll cover it a little bit of my own. It's a great way to play. Cheap, easy, lots of fun. Pioneer's another format, and here's a list of our cards that are banned. And you could just kind of keep going through all of your banned and restricted list here. And then we could go through and this will help break down any questions you might have about what does what. Like, for instance, our keyword here, Death Touch. A keyword ability found on creatures. A creature dealt any amount of damage by a creature with Death Touch is destroyed. Death Touch has no effect on players or planeswalkers. Except for, you're going to learn very quickly as you play this game, they have a golden rule. The card can override a rule. So if there's a card that says, which there is, that says it could kill a planeswalker if it has Death Touch, it overrides this ability right here. It's quite the interesting conundrum. And as you get deeper into Magic, it can make things a little bit more difficult to handle and take care of. So that is something to be aware of when it comes to Magic the Gathering. But just going over here allows you to just do a nice quick look and give you at least a basic explanation of some of the more common abilities that you'll see and keywords that you'll see on the Magic cards, such as the tap symbol, meaning you turn this permanent sideways to show it has been used. So generally that is for like lands and attackers or some of the other things. And this kind of actually explains what I said earlier. If it's a creature that still has summoning sickness, you cannot tap it. So this is a handy little tool to always get up on if you have any kind of questions about cards and how they actually function. To get on here and just go through your keyword glossary and just see, is it in this kind of section somewhere? If you have any questions about damage, destroy effects, discard, the list just goes on and on and on and on. There's a really extensive rule book you can always download as well. They have a how to play and where to start section here. They have the card database, so this is their gatherer website. This is so you can look up cards such as, I don't know, we'll use Corvold. So you can just type in Corvold and it will pull up anything with the name Corvold. So let's say we were looking for this particular dragon, who is honestly very powerful. So you can look him up. You have an actual breakdown of this is the actual oracle of everything that he does, all of his stats, everything over here. And then down here you have several rulings of what he does and how things interact with him. So it makes things a little bit easier if you ever have questions of how cards interact back and forth. One of the funnier things is this Eldrazi creature right here, who says your opponents can't cast spells with even mana values. 0 is even. Your opponents can't block with creatures with even mana values. So if your top right hand corner is an even number, this guy shuts you down. Now that's not really why I wanted to show this card in this video. I wanted to show it because of this hilarious text right here. Yes, your opponents can't even. We know. It's a funny little inside joke about the fact that he shuts down things with even mana cost. So it's just something funny I wanted to show, and just have a good laugh because I think it's hilarious. You can't even. I've played it a couple of times and I've got to say that, and my opponents they have the most saddest of sad looks on their face. So we're coming to the what I would consider to be the end of our video here. I will give kind of a sneak peek of the next deck I might do a preview for, which was also commissioned, so that we can hopefully get some ideas going here. So we have another commissioned deck. I believe it was this. It was. Oh no, it was not this one. This is actually my personal one. What did we name that one? Give me one moment. There we go. This is the deck that was commissioned, the Inferno Dragon Star. This was commissioned by the same person that asked me to do the Lord of the Nazgul, $1,000 limit. Being mono red made it very easy to stay within budget of the whole deck. The commander for this is Inferno of the Star Mounts. He's a 6-drop, 6/6 legendary dragon. He cannot be countered, which means that when I go to play him, he will just come right into play, and you don't have a way to say no because he cannot be stopped on the cast of him. Once he hits the battlefield, you could blow him up, remove him, anything like that. But as far as casting him, no, he's gonna resolve, and he's gonna be on the battlefield. He has flying haste, and he has a really nasty ability. You can pay a red, and he gets a +1/+0 until end of turn. When its power becomes 20 this way, it deals 20 damage to any target. So that's all I'm going to read about him. I'm going to save the rest of it for the actual deck check of the video. So do have kind of a spoiler about what another video is going to be coming up soon. Probably tomorrow. Because I'm very anxious and very proud of this one. This one hits very hard, very fast, and can kill everybody very quickly. Pretty dangerous commander, if I do say so. So, with that, I guess we will bring this video to a close. If you have any thoughts on decks you would like to see me build or go over, please feel free to leave me a comment, like, share, subscribe, ring the bell for all sorts of new videos that will be coming out very, very quickly. And let me know what you think. Let me know if there's any kind of information that you don't really know about the game that you're very curious about, and I will be more than happy to make a video about this and kind of go over some things in detail, and we will hopefully get everybody squared away. With all that said, remember, I'm your Buddha Dragon, so rub that belly for mana and have a great time.